Oh my god.
What?
Just fucking wait, pal.
God, I'm scared.
It's, you're in for a treat. Oh, plan. No. Oh, yeah. Sorry for the one viewer who got to listen to the echo of the music. I'm sure you cared a lot.
Dun, 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 dun.
If I ever get married, should I walk down the aisle to this?
Only if it's the remix version of me going dun, 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 dun.
You got yourself a dealio, palio.
Huzzah.
Oh, I hope it turns out. Oh god, where'd all the time go? I blame Caramel Bear.
Why, how much time do we have?
10 seconds.
Ooh. Notes. Where are our notes?
Josh's like, I'm still finishing up the workday, gosh darn it.
What was the Fave Five topic?
Shh, 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 shh. The show's starting now, Josh. Shh, 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 shh.
All right, I'll be quiet till it's over.
This is Jack Vickers, and you are listening to the Hidden Oaks Overdose Football Fix, also known as The Hood.
Thank you, Jack. That is correct. It is the Hood. I can't do it quite like him, but hello. It is December 8th, 2020. It is a beautiful Tuesday evening. The weather is perfect for some reason. In early December, I don't get it. This is podcast number 67. We hope, we believe, we pray we've got a great show for you tonight. And you know what, Josh? I'm feeling a little rocky, so we're just going to go ahead and choose the rock theme tonight. Walters, go ahead and take us into the show.
Welcome to the Hidden Oaks Overdose Football Fix with your lovely hostesses, Garlic Johnson
We're going to need to take a break here while I change my pants.
and Josh Mitchell.
Sitting here undefeated in everything I do. except fantasy football. No, I'm not allowed to handle crayons.
Not after last time.
Not after last time.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, Garlic and Josh.
Thank you, Walters. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Hidden Oaks Overdose Football Fix podcast. I am one of your lovely hostesses, the Garlic Johnson. We are joined, as almost always, by our other lovely hostess, the Joshua Mitchell. Josh, say hi to them folks.
Hi, folks.
Thank you, Josh. HiddenOaksOverdose@gmail.com, Facebook.com/HoodPod, and Anchor.fm/HoodPod are all the different places you can interact with us, and we'd appreciate if you do so. We're still on our journey to 100 subs. Josh, big announcement. We went from 28 after like 4 to 6 weeks of stagnation. We're up to 29. Not trying to brag here, but we are a pretty big deal. So 29 subs. Thank you very much, fans. All 29 of you.
Parade scheduled for next Tuesday.
What'd you say? Parade?
Parade is scheduled for next Tuesday.
At first I thought you said a raid. I was like, who are we raiding? But parade makes way more sense. Segment start times are down in the description below for all you audio listeners. Thank you at Levi Oki Illustration on Instagram for creating all the beautiful show art that we have. Josh, how you doing?
Swell. How are you, Gar?
You know what, Josh? I am doing dandy. That seemed like a big exhale. I know last couple shows I've been talking to you about your mood, and today you seem a little more chippier. How are we feeling? Have you overcome the sad? Is today just a better day in general? How are we feeling?
Good.
What was that? Are you okay?
Time just got away from me, and I'm not quite sure how my mic is set up yet because I haven't been using it, so I apologize in advance. Come on, what is going on here?
I can't wait until Al takes a screenshot of what you and I just did. We're going to be famous on the internet, Josh. On, I believe, a RedTube, a Pornhub, a Meat Spin, Lemon Party.
No. Yeah. All right. I think I got it figured out now. What week is it?
We're going into week 15, as I titled it in the notes. Hey, look at you. Your cursor's there. But so you're doing good. Have you overcome the sad? Is the warm weather cheering you up, or anything else in particular?
No. So I'm like the Hulk. My secret is that I'm always sad. So.
Well, I guess in what way does that benefit you? Because obviously the Hulk gets big and muscly and can smash stuff. I guess what do you gain from being always sad?
Apathetic, lack of emotion. Gives me time to look up the word integer online.
Okay. Well, we'll get into that in a second.
See, I was very wrong. I'm over here wondering who Tiger is, because if you're in them, I needed to know who it is.
Hey,
I had to look online, and I had to make sure I wasn't on my work computer. It's just a freaking number.
Well, Josh, those are spoilers, Josh. Let's get into the Fantasy Zone right now. It seems like we're both ready. Josh has overcome the sad. I'm doing good. One last thing I wanted to mention, the season finale of The Masked Singers tomorrow night. I know all of you will be tuning in. Big show. I think the Sun's going to win. Jamie thinks the Sun is Shania Twain. I don't know. Some people are speculating that the pink crocodile is Donald Faison, Josh. So I don't know if you want to watch potentially Donald Faison get unmasked tomorrow, but he made it to the top 3, so good for him. No way the mushroom wins. The mushroom's coming in third. I think it's going to go mushroom, pink crocodile, and the Sun. You're welcome. It's a great week. Anyways, Josh, Fantasy Zone. What are your sponsors this week? Do we got any sponsors for the Fantasy Zone, Josh?
Boobly.
What
Peach.
flavor? Oh, a little peachy are you, pal?
Oh, yeah. And then I got some high quality kitchen sink water. And
Delicious.
As far as snacks go, I'm not trusted with gummy packets anymore because I leave the wrappers all over. So
John, did you get in trouble with the wife for leaving your gummy packets laying around, Josh? Or with the dogs? Did the dogs start eating them because they're really smart animals?
Nope. I punished myself.
All right, Josh. I'm in kind of a pickle. It's a great pickle to be in, but there's So there's a wise guy or girl out there, Josh, and I'm not sure. So I honestly forget if it was last week or 2 weeks ago, but I put the pledge out there. For someone to send me some Arizona Peach Arnold Palmer, right? Kind of a rare can, hard to find, yeah. And
you got a jug of piss instead.
Ray Flowers piss jug have not made it to my doorstep yet. I assume they're coming. I assume T will give me a nice Christmas present right in the old balcony over there. No, I come home yesterday and there's a package. This is not the Arnold Palmer, but I did get a beautiful Arizona Peach iced tea. And wait a second, hold on. I didn't get one can, Josh. I got 24 23-ounce cans. So there was no card. The return address was just some company. I'm sure I sound terrible on the mic right now. So let me get back in front of the mic. So at first I thought caramel because he was talking about it. He was like, yeah, I've been looking, but that peach Arnold Palmer is just really hard to find, okay? So, and caramel doesn't have my address, so I don't know how he'd do it. I thought Brian equally does not have my address, Josh. I've only shared my address with probably 8 humans on the planet. A couple of them are my cousins. One of them's a girl I haven't talked to in a while. My mom and my dad, I don't think they're sending me stuff that I asked for on the podcast. Jordan Bates probably hasn't listened to the podcast in quite some time. Otherwise, he'd be giving his voicemails every week, I'd believe, because I feel confident Jordan would put every chance he can into winning a free $50. But, Josh, just very recently, you know who asked me for my address, Josh?
Jamie Hammer.
No, it's I still have her in my phone as Nikita Bunker. And I don't know that you and or Nikita sent me this. What I do know is that your hands are probably dirty, and whoever did send me this probably shared my address with them, which thank you very much. I appreciate it. But Josh, do you have anything to say for yourself and or your wife?
Don't drink can number 7.
Well, in what orientation?
I'll let you figure out which orientation.
But they could all be number 7.
That's the secret. They are all number 7.
So was this you then, or do I have to track down someone else to thank?
Honestly, it was not me. I'm
was
100% serial.
Did it come from your household? Was it your wife or your dog somehow?
My dog is the most likely.
No.
Nope.
No,
Sorry, I'm trying to multitask here, and it's, as you know, I'm dumb.
So should I be thanking Nikita? Because you seem to be leaving her out here.
Oh, I have no idea if she did it or not. I haven't talked to her in a couple days.
Ooh, Ryan Walters says in the chat, he says, I know a few things. It's not Josh. Carmel said it's a Christmas miracle. There's some sort of conspiracy going on. Oh, Ryan says, not involved with the Bunker household one bit, Garlic. Is Walters involved here? Okay, Walters, if you sent me the tea, or Levi, but specifically Walters, if you sent me the tea, thank you very much. But wherever you have my address stored, delete it, burn it, throw it in the ocean, because I don't want you knowing where I live for any longer than you have to. So whoever it was, thank you very much. I do appreciate it. The peach Arnold Palmer is very hard to find, but peach iced tea is still delicious, and we'll go ahead and give this boy a little crack. A little crack right now. Give her a sip. Ooh. That is peachy. I do appreciate it. Thank you very much. Okay, Josh. So that's my sponsor. I've also got Sour Mike and Ice that I opened yesterday. Okay. Don't forget, raffle, $50 raffle. Leave us a voicemail every week. You can get into the raffle, yada, yada, yada. Yeah, we got an email from Brian, Josh, in the Fantasy Zone. Any chance you got that one yanked up? Because if you don't, I do.
I do not. You can go ahead and enjoy and read it.
Oh, God. So in the chat, Walter says, I have your address, but it wasn't me. So if Walters is sharing, okay, I don't want to spend any more time talking about me because I already do that enough, but Walters having my address is very scary. So let's just put that out there. Okay. Email from Brian. Show subject line, show of 12-1 recap. Hello, lovely hostesses. Lots to cover this week. Let's start with the clean show from Gar. Does one shit and one finger to the camera negate this? Josh, you need to do a ruling. Gar. Josh looked very confused when you used the word integer in a sentence. After the show, will you explain to him, please? I don't like it when Josh looks confused. Josh brought up LeBron's hairline, which made me think, is there something in the Hidden Oaks hood that contributes to high hairlines, loss of hair? I look at the video of the hostesses and look at my son, and I wonder, what is the deal with the receding hairlines? All right, easy, Brian. Is Jesse's going backwards too?
Mine's pulled back, so...
Brian's firing shots. Is Jesse going backwards too? And does the massive growth of facial hair negate this? Just pondering. Fan Tasty Zone. Gentlemen, I am out on the street pitching to potential advertisers, and the failure to name sponsors during the segment is killing me with potential clients. Naming sponsor after the segment and Josh having no sponsors not helping. We need to get the hostesses paid. Josh, can you say cheaps again? Solid show as usual.
Chips.
Love the grum. Brian, always remember that you are absolutely unique, just like everybody else.
Yeah, I cried when I read that the first time.
the snowflake in you just were you? What made you cry, Josh? What emotion did you feel when you read that?
He called me unique. He's being nice.
But he also said you're just like everybody else.
No, I'm unique, Garlic.
Are you? Am I unique?
We'll figure it out.
I hate you. So, Josh, we need a ruling on the clean show. I apparently did say shit one time, and I've already said it twice tonight just to explain Brian's email, and I did flick off the camera at one point, either during a Brian segment. So what do you think? Do we need another clean show entry? It would have to be next week or later, because obviously this week's out the window.
No, I don't think so. I think at Brian's age, he's probably already forgotten about it, so we're probably good.
All right, and so you looked up integer, right? You understand that?
Yeah, I'm going to act like I do.
To the loss of hairlines, Josh, there's no secret that my hair is going. I've been growing it out here with the old COVID cut, but the hair is going, no doubt about it. Do you think, so Josh, thinking about the hood and everyone in the hood, everyone in our little circle, every single one of sets of their parents got divorced. Yeah, I can't think of a single family that was left standing. So I'm thinking this is on the parents. We're losing our hair because we've been stressed out since we were little kids about our dumb parents marrying people they don't love, Josh. Is this our fault or is this Brian's fault?
I'm still thinking that we're going to find a way to blame Jesse.
It could be Jesse. I mean, yeah. I'll accept.
I mean,
blaming
look
Jesse.
at him.
Well, I can say that to Brian asked the question: is Jesse's hairline going back? I think Jesse's pretty safe. But if it were coming, it'd probably be coming soon. I can also say I think Dan still has a full head of hair. At least I haven't seen Dan in a long time, but Dan's had pretty good hair for a while. Of all the bad things you want to say about the man, Dan's had good hair for a while. So, also, fun fact, it's after the age of 25 is when you start going backwards. So Josh is ancient, and me and Brad are 26. So it's the collagen, Brian. You got to Google the collagen, and that's where our hair is going. Our bodies are just over it. 25 is the new 60, especially in the year 2020. I think we've addressed everything. We did the sponsors right away, even highlighted the note sheet for Brian. We're all unique, just like everybody else. That's good there. We got a couple of comments on YouTube, Josh. Let me pull those up here. Walter says he'll donate $2 for every clean episode next season. We'll see, Walters. It's going to be a lot of Skrilla coming our way. All right. YouTube comments from Jack. Really enjoying Gar twirling his mustache every week, waiting for him to come out on the pod with it styled like Salvador Dali. Not to disappoint you, Jack, but my mustache is actually pathetic. It is the weakest part of my facial hair game. It's all about the beard. There's no way I could ever style this mustache. I could grow it for 30 years and it would be pathetic, but I can twirl the beard, no problem. So that'll never happen. His other comment, he says, wait a minute, you mentioned us five got a raffle entry for the Fave Five. What about Travis Leahy? Well, actually, he specifically wrote Travis Lacey getting an entry for his amazing question. So I'm sorry, Jack, but Travis Lacey did not leave us a voicemail last week, so Travis Lacey will not get a raffle entry. Sorry about you. Josh, this is, before I go on to actually, we'll do this first. So, Josh, you heard me mention that I was scrambling just before the show here. Carmel Bear had sent me in something very last second. So, for the very first time, Josh, we have received fan art. And I was chuckling because of what this fan art was.
Oh, no.
There was talk about Carmel Bear's
How
father.
many flower dicks?
Nope, no flower dicks. We were talking about Carmel Bear's father last week and how we are his third favorite podcast. And I talked about how Carmel Bear's dad is full-blown Mexican from Guadalajara, deep in the heart of Mexico. And this is the beautiful fan art we got. Are you ready for this, Josh? Are you paying attention?
No. Hang on, let me full screen.
That is what we got. And I can't read Spanish. Esto no es Pat McAfee, pero está bien. He's saying we're not
sure
Pat McAfee,
says...
but we're still okay, I'm guessing.
Yeah,
I don't
pretty
speak
much.
Spanish. See, if that were a bunch of like frijoles and bolsas and stuff like that, if it was Taco Bell Spanish, I could have read it no problem because I worked at T-Bell for 7 years, but I can read Pat McAfee. That's in English or Irish or however you want to say it, but so that's...
I love the attention to detail on the 7 hairs on his head and then the chest hair. He must have some hairy arms. I like it.
But the mustache was really my area of emphasis last week. And just look at that thing. That thing is a creature that's going to crawl off his face and attack someone. But it's also the most beautiful thing I've ever seen.
Yep, I'm trying to style it right now with my cursor.
How's that going for you?
It's not doing anything.
Oh, man. Okay, so that was the first and probably only time we'll receive fan art. But thank you very much, Levi. I'll be sure to post that on the Facebook tomorrow. Mañana, I believe, would be the way to say that in Spanish. So last thing for the fan tasting zone. I know it's been a longer one, but I had an investigation to conduct that I still haven't come to the bottom to. We had some fan art. We had a lot of questions in the email. So if you want to be a super fan, so I know we used to get decent traction on our Facebook page, and then I've pushed everyone to Anchor, which the voicemail content is definitely best for the pod. But if you want to be a quote-unquote super fan, even though a lot of you already do a lot for us, if you could just, anytime you see one of our Facebook posts, if you give it a like, if you give it a comment, that'll just give a higher chance for other people who like our page to see it, because Facebook's news feeds are crazy. So if there's more interaction on the post, more people are likely to see it, more people are likely to remember to leave us a voicemail, and then more people are likely to contribute to the show. So, it doesn't have to be a super meaningful comment. You can just be like, hey, I got a great Fave Five coming at you this week, Josh. I hope you eat a dick. I don't know, whatever you want to say. Any comment is better than no comment. Likes help too. YouTube, we don't care about so much, but if you want to like and leave comments there too, that's great. But we'd appreciate it if you could. It will just help the whole Hood Pod community. All right, Josh. That was a long one. Let's get right into that 2-minute drill. Do you feel like you're actually ready this week?
What?
Do you feel like you're ready for the 2-minute drill?
I might. Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
Conveniently for you, it just so happens that I'm going first this week. So you've got at least 2 minutes because I have to play the whistle intro, and then I have to load the new file, and then I have to talk for 60 seconds. Plus, there's the whistles. So you got about 2 minutes, but here's the beautiful whistle song provided by Audio Al. Thank you again, Al. All right, so I'll go first here. Remember, it's whistle, song, whistle, whistle, song, whistle. It's whistle, song, whistle, whistle, song, whistle.
And
whistle, song, whistle, whistle, song, whistle. Whistle, song, whistle, whistle, song, whistle. A lot of pressure.
And here we go.
Honestly, my music gets me hype. I'm going to leave it a little louder this week. All right. I feel disrespectful only talking about the GOAT, Brian Flores, for less than 60 seconds. He deserves so much more. If you didn't get to watch the Bengals-Dolphins game, there were some disgusting football acts in that game. I'm pretty sure 4 players got ejected, 2 from each team. And Brian Flores was out there on the front lines. He was ready to fight whoever got in his path. There's almost a little if I die, I die Kirk Cousins vibe to him. But you got to respect Brian Flores' ability to defend his players. It'll probably get in trouble. Being a hothead isn't great all the time, but I respect the hell out of Brian Flores for what he did. Thank you for providing that content to me. Also, I tried to tell you about them Washington boys. Maybe once you predicted them beating the Steelers, but they did. Washington football team, here they go.
I'm going to take a more fantasy approach to stick with our Fave Five theme of sci-fi. And so I'm going to talk about some studs that you might have had, considering it's the last week before playoffs start in many leagues. If you had Darren Waller putting up 45 PPR points, you might be in the playoffs. David Montgomery had 27 PPR, along with Aaron Jones at 22 PPR points, Baker Mayfield with a monster 29-point game, and then I've been saying it for years, Corey Davis, wide receiver 1, 35 PPR points. If you had those guys and you needed some had those guys and needed points to win, you likely did. Some duds, Justin Herbert, only 4 points against the Pats. Miles Sanders, 3 points against the paper bag defense of Green Bay. CEH with zero, that's Spanish for zero. And then Derrick Henry with only 6 points. So much for being a best pick.
I was kind of hoping you'd mention Aaron Jones is like 77-yarder to ice the game, but maybe on the next one. You go first on the next one. Are you prepared for such a thing, or would that be a train wreck?
I'm ready.
Okay. All right, week 14, 2-minute drill. Here we go.
All right, sticking to the fantasy theme of things, week 14, I've got some stardoms, maybe not some FanDuel stardoms, but some general players in which I like their matchups. Where you got Herbert bouncing back and going up against the putrid Atlanta defense. And in conjunction with him, Mike Williams might be a start this week. He's a top 25 wide receiver, despite not getting much love because of how volatile he is. Yet people still like Mike Evans for the same reason. Other starters, David Montgomery, clear RB1, going up against Houston's bad run defense. Put him in your lineup. Players to avoid, Derek Carr versus Indy. That's just going to be a S show. And then Eagles players. With Hurts starting, he's not better than Wentz, and Wentz was bad. So don't start your Eagles. Anyways, some sleepers for the playoffs. Jamal Williams currently has a 50% share with Aaron Jones, and his schedule is prime.
You know, Josh, it's kind of weird. It seems like all the players you like this week, you just went down to the Fantasy Fun Time and picked all the players that I liked in the Hood Play Along Challenge. Convenient? I don't know. You tell me. But good looking Thursday game on this week 14 starting on, what did I just say? Thursday? Yeah, Thursday night game. Can the Rams keep rolling, or is Emperor Palpatine back to his old ways? It sure looked like it against the Chargers, but people have been questioning the Chargers coaching for a while, and Herbert is a rookie, so there's lots of things that could have contributed to the way that game unfolded. Is it possible Miami gets upset, or excuse me, is it possible Miami Is it possible Miami gets the upset of the century against KC? You tell me. Big game for the Vikes going down to Tampa Bay. It would be exciting but pointless to win, and I hope we don't. But we just might. All right, Josh, this is a 2-minute drill. I really struggled to read my second sentence there. That was... Sometimes I write things in a way that even I can't read, and that's tough. Tough. All right, Josh, it's time for the aforementioned Fantasy Fun Time. Do you got anything special cooking for this Fantasy Fun Time?
No, I'm gonna actually pass it off to you this time.
Well, see, that's what you said last week, and then if I just vamped for like 2 seconds, then you like took it and you like did something.
Yeah, but my throat hurts.
All right, I'll whistle it this week, okay? Isn't that the strongest whistle you've ever heard? Fantasy Fun Time, beautiful whistle intro. Probably the first ever whistle intro we've had on the Fantasy Fun Time, Josh. We're making history. All right, Josh, you've been dominant all year. We're in the last week leading into the playoffs where you probably got the first round bye in every league. How salty are your grains this week?
Let's just say that if this was a week that was not already before a lot of playoff seeds have been guaranteed, I'd have been Bradley levels of salty.
Oh,
so
no.
So right now, currently sitting at the only win that I have is in the Guillotine League. The only advancement I have. I lost in the Bunker League, the Bunker Fam League. I lost in Deflate These Balls, so I'm missing the playoffs there. Lost in the Redraft League. Lost in the Dynasty League because I couldn't let you beat me and you be the only one to beat me. So I let Derek take the win. I'm marking a couple of them as L's, but I do have the Ravens defense playing in a few of them. And then Victoria's Secret, I think I could still lose. But even if I do, I'm still guaranteed a bye. So I still have 3 buys going into next week. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do on Sunday.
You're free, Josh. You could go. I haven't heard about you woodworking in a while. Maybe you could go out to the old garage and do a little woodwork and maybe a little whittling on your wood. Hey?
Yeah, why are you underwater?
What do you mean?
Oh, now you're better. You must have turned your head just slightly because I couldn't hear. It sounded like you were drowning.
Oh, well, maybe I was drowning, Josh. I appreciate your concern.
Were you drowning in all your salt?
Well, Josh, it actually wasn't that bad of a week for me. And I remembered now that I've missed a voicemail. We had a voicemail submission late for the Fantasy Zone. We're not going to do it right now. I'll do it in between. I'll do it right before the Fave Five. So we'll do this. We'll do the Hidden Oaks highlights, and then I'll hit the voicemail that I missed for the Fantasy Zone. Sorry for the fan who left it. But yeah, to my grain of salt this week, Josh, I went 3-2 on the week. My streak of luck finally ran out in my most expensive league. I had won 4 in a row, and during that stretch, I was pretty much the worst team every week in that stretch. One of the worst teams on that stretch. So I was just getting a lot of lucky wins. But 3-2 overall, using the intellectual property of Joshua Allen Bunker Incorporated statistics thingy. On the year, I'm ending my regular season at 370 and 371. Of course, there had to be just one last game that I couldn't get over the hump to 500, but I end the year just sub 500, and I gotta tell you, it is disappointing and it stings a little bit. I've got 2 of my leagues I'm eliminated from the playoffs. Those are Dunsky. The 2 that I'm not tanking, 2 of them that I'm not tanking, I should say. And the 3 leagues I made the playoffs in, I got no first round buys, and it doesn't look good for any of them. I mean, in 2 of them, I could probably win the first round, but my team is I've seen the championships and the first place teams, and unless I get a really lucky week, all these teams are doomed. So I'm just praying to somehow. I'm just praying to get a 3rd place somewhere, get a couple dollars back, because right now my investment on the year was $400 into fantasy, and I've made, assuming I don't win picks again, I've made about $50 from playing in picks every week over the year. But it's going to be, from a pure fantasy standpoint, it looks like I'm about to lose $400 with not much else to my name. Very disappointing. But you know what? We won some money the last couple of years, so everyone's going to get theirs eventually. You just got to get yours more than you get got, and I got this year. Yeah. So, Josh, what do we do next? FanDuel stuff, I think? Yeah, FanDuel.
I suppose.
So last week, Josh, I believe you came in 20th. Oh, we got a comment from Walters. Josh needs 4 points from both Zeke and Dobbins. It would be a travesty if he didn't get a win in VS. So Walter's just breaking that down for you. I don't remember if you
hang
broke
on
that
now.
down.
I know we usually try not to engage the chat too frequently and have a conversation back and forth with them.
Specifically when it's Walters, you want to avoid that, yeah.
Right, but I'm sure he's over there sweating in his boots because I could bench both these guys, and if Tyler still has what's his nuts benched, I want to say Butker, but it's not Butker. Why can't I think of the Baltimore Ravens kicker?
Justin Tucker?
Yes. If those 3 players get benched for whatever reason, Walters misses the playoffs.
Oh, interesting. So you kind of hold Walters' fate in your hand, pal. Oh. I mean, so what would be the disadvantage to you losing? Nothing? Are you already locked in the standings?
I'm not locked into 2 unless some freaky stuff happens. But if Tyler loses, I think I'm locked in, and currently I'm outscoring him, but he has Tucker. So
all right.
I don't know. I'm not going to do it. I'm just going to pray that they do bad.
All right, on to the FanDuel challenge. Josh mentioned him in his 2-minute drill. Darren Waller had a dominant week. In the half-point PPR that is FanDuel, he got 38.5 points. Darren Waller, tight end for the Las Vegas Raiders. Derek Carr, his teammate who's throwing him the rock, quarterback for the Las Vegas Raiders, he got 32.74 points. The New England Patriots defense, who absolutely mollywopped the the Los Angeles Chargers, put up 31 points. Quarterback for the Buffalo Bills, Josh Allen, put up 30.1 points. And then Corey Davis, wide receiver for the Tennessee Titans, he put up 29.7 points. So definitely a dominant week from some of our top players here. If you want to sort by value, the molly-whopping New England Patriots defense got an 8.4 times value. That's one of the highest of the year for sure. Darren Waller a 5.5, Corey Davis a 4.9, Derek Carr 4.5, and then the one team here we didn't see in the raw top 5 is the Jaguars defense. Saxonville is back, some would say. A 4.4 times value for the 14 points that they scored. So that's how it broke down there. And then if we go ahead and did you have any of those guys in your lineup this week, Josh?
Clearly not.
You didn't come in last. It looked like I think I took a quick glance. It looked like you came in like 13th. Yeah.
Yep.
And so it looks like we only had 19 entrants, so it looks like someone has given up on us, which I don't blame them at this point. If you're at the bottom, there's probably no hope. But moving on to leaderboard here, we got firmly in first place, not even cheating Brian's up there anymore. Firmly in first place is Vinegar Strokes 47, a.k.a. Aaron. He's got 1654.64. In second place, only 4 points behind him, is Jesse, 1650.26. And then in real third place is Mehoff 2017, a.k.a. Jack Vickers, with a mean 1620, so he's about 34 points out from the lead. So Jesse's still right up there. And Josh, I believe you texted over the weekend, and I think we've probably at least jokingly said it on the pod this year, but you seem to be a firm believer that Jesse is not making his picks, or at least he is influenced by someone somewhere else.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure his Magic 8 Ball is giving him the answers.
So there's a lot of options on there. Does he always just wait on a player until it says yes? Because there's like the please try again, seems uncertain, junk like that. There's only one yes and one no. So I guess does he only pick on yes, or what's the criteria on the 8 ball that he would be like, yep, this player's in my lineup?
I don't think Jesse knows how to use a Magic 8 Ball either, so I'm pretty sure he just drinks the fluid and then guesses.
What do you mean it's not blue Kool-Aid? Why would they put it in here if you're not supposed to drink it?
Right.
But
yeah, no, I don't know. Good for him, I guess. He's got a decent lead going. Nikita fell back a little bit, but she's not too far out of fourth. So just, there's still 5 weeks left, 4 weeks left, 5 weeks left, four weeks left.
We play through week 17. So week 14, Josh, week 15, week 16, week 17, 4 weeks left. Counting
until they add
fine.
an 18th week.
See, Josh, and the number 4 is an integer, so we're just bringing the whole show full circle. You like that? We're learning for the kids, and just also teach your kid how to say shit and fuck, and then we're the best kid show out there. But so, Josh, we already talked about plenty of the players, but who did you like last week in the Hood Pod Challenge, and how did they perform?
Well, DeAndre Swift, but he apparently got sick and didn't play, so.
I think that's 3 weeks in a row we've picked someone. One of us has picked someone that didn't play, so we're good.
Yeah. Well, didn't he get sick? Like he had a stomach illness, so he couldn't play because of that. It's not like he had been.
I don't know. I know Alexander Madison had appendicitis. He had the old Nate disease. I don't know what was wrong with DeAndre Swift though.
Oh, Alexander Madison had to pay $725 to play.
It might have been that. That one too many big Texas cinnamon rolls, and that appendix just burst.
I could use one of those right now. But anyways, I also had a Dolphins QB. So whoever started against Cincinnati, they put up 16. And then Allen Robinson versus Detroit, who put up 10.5. I didn't do so hot. How'd you do?
I liked Cam Akers last week. Like I said, I think Cam Akers has finally kind of taken over that primary back role. He got up 15.9 against the Cardinals, so I think that was pretty respectable. He was definitely on the cheaper side too, so that's a gooder value. Gooder's a good word. I called Baker last week. No one was listening, I guess, but Baker at Tennessee, 28.96 points. How you doing? Baker was slicing and dicing. Had 4 touchdowns in the first half, quieter second half, but Baker did great. And then Allen Robinson, the pick you stole from me, me versus Detroit, 10.5. Not terrible. Could be better. When Mitch Trubisky's throwing you the ball, getting anything more than -7 is pretty incredible. This week, Josh, and to be clear, I made these notes first. I really like David Montgomery versus Houston. He's had a really great last 2 weeks, and Houston has been a bad run defense all year. David Montgomery, running back for the Bears. I also really like Jamison Crowder, wide receiver for the Jets this week against Seattle. Sam Darnold's back. Sam Darnold loves throwing the rock to Crowder. Seattle's had a notoriously terrible pass defense all year, even though they've been stepping it up lately. So I like Jamison Crowder this week. And lastly, I like the old Herbie, fully loaded quarterback for the Los Angeles Chargers against Atlanta to have a big bounce back week after he really struggled from Emperor Palpatine's tricks last week. Josh, who do you like this week, Josh?
I had made my list for the 2-minute drill without looking at the notes, because why would I look at the notes before the show? And so I didn't even know that you had 2 of the people on there, but bravo, you think like me, and my grain of salt has been better than yours. So you're learning. Have you been listening to the podcast?
No.
Okay. But no, I had David Montgomery. I wrote him down on here as well as Justin Herbert. So we agree on both those guys. And then I threw in Mike Williams for a wide receiver because of that Herbert connection as well.
All right. Well, we'll see how they do. Josh, let's go ahead and keep rolling here because, like I said, we had a bit of a longer start of the show. We're moving on to the Hidden Oaks highlights. And I figure instead of starting with the side bet, because then we go from the redraft to the Dynasty back to the redraft, we'll just start diving into the Dynasty League. Is there a snowball's chance in hell you looked at the notes I took for the Dynasty League this week?
No.
Well, is there any chance you could open them by just going into the spreadsheet we share for the show?
Well, I scrolled down and I didn't see anything.
In the spreadsheet? Because it's right there.
I know. Yep, I see it.
Quickly, I mean, there wasn't too many shocking things. Jalen, I thought, was going to get the 2 seed. Jalen lost to T. So T cemented his playoff spot, and Jalen actually lost the bye. So the final standings are looking like they're going to be Josh number 1, Derek number 2, Jalen number 3, Connor number 4, T number 5, and then Jesse number 6. We have 2, 6, and 7 teams making the playoffs, so that's a little rough-ski. But Brad just missed it. He was praying on a T loss, and that didn't happen. And then Kevin, Nate, and I have been locked in for some time. Looks like Nate might get his 3rd win. Either way, it doesn't matter. The standings aren't going to change there. And there's a couple players left tonight, but unless there's like a 10,000 pointer tonight, none of the standings will change from tonight's game. So these are pretty much locked in. Josh and Derek both have a bye, being the number 1 and the number 2 seed. And then the playoff match for the Dynasty are going to be Jesse at Jalen and then T at Connor. And so I'm really glad that Jalen I guess I'm really glad that T moved up into the 5 seed, because I think the matchups of Jalen versus Jesse and T versus Connor are a lot more compelling than if it were like Jalen v. Connor and Jesse v. T, because I feel like T and Connor are the best of the 4 teams playing next week. So it being Jesse versus Jalen actually makes both matchups pretty interesting, because Jalen's been a lot more lucky than good this year. I think Jalen's team has the higher floor playing against Jesse, but Jesse does have scary boom potential that we've seen throughout the season. So I'm giving the edge to Jalen just based on the higher floor, but Jesse could definitely upset. Although if Jesse upsets, he is playing Josh guaranteed because he is the last seed. So Jesse, you might just want to lose this one and then not have to get embarrassed by Josh, but that's up to you. Jalen, if he wins, he automatically plays Derek because he is the highest seed of the teams playing this week. So Jalen wins, he plays Derek, full show. Moving on to the T and Connor matchup. T having Mahomes and Cook means anything is possible, but Connor definitely has the more well-rounded squad, especially if CMC comes back. So I have to give the edge to Connor just because I think, like I said, he's got the better team, especially if CMC comes back. But, T surprised a couple people this year as well. He's currently the reigning champ. He made the playoffs with a negative record, but you know what? Anything's possible in the old Dynasty League. Josh proved that this year. Besides being a bot, despite being a bot in all things fantasy, Josh somehow went 11-2, or went 11-2. So I mean, miracles do happen sometimes, kids. So just keep praying. But I'm thinking both Jalen and Connor walk away. So next week it's going to be Josh versus Connor and Jalen v. Derek. Those are my predictions, Josh. Do you have any feelings about the Dynasty League at all? Whether it's how people finished, how the playoffs are going to go, draft picks, this or that.
No opinions.
How do you feel about Nate? Because obviously I've been giving Nate a hard time all year. Some would say I'm probably being a bad commissioner by picking on him the whole year. But what do you think about Nate not setting a full lineup?
I've been saying you're a bad commissioner for years.
You're welcome to take the leagues back if you want. But so Nate did set a full lineup for like 8-9 weeks in a row. I mean, what do you think?
I mean, he hasn't said he wants to quit, and it's not like he's not doing anything. He has contributed in the chat, and I know he contributed in the chat and then didn't set his lineup, so that's kind of weird. But he's still around.
He seems to contribute like on a Tuesday, Wednesday. Like he'll put in his waiver claims, or he'll pick up players after the waivers go through, set his lineup on Wednesday, and then doesn't come back in until the next Wednesday. Appears to be his thing right now.
And that's checking it. That's more than we've had with some people in the past.
That's true.
So I'm saying, let him ride out the off season and see what he says.
Roger that. All right, that's the Dynasty League, Josh. I also took notes on the redraft league because it sounds like you didn't have time to do a lot of stuff this week. So you want to go? Have you had a chance to check this out in the lead up to the pod? Do you know how things are going in the redraft league, or do I need to kind of lead the way on that as well?
I don't know what your notes are like.
What do you mean?
Oh, never mind. Yeah, so looking at this now.
Well, so I'm just want to familiarize yourself with it. So first, when we're talking about the side bet, or the redraft league, we have the last side bet of the year. I didn't win it again. So out of the 39 side bets we've ever given out, I haven't won a single one of them. These things are a scam. As commissioner, I'll use my executive powers to just get rid of them forever because they're stupid. But yeah, side bet week 13 was keep your TDs to yourself. This would be the winning team with the fewest touchdowns. And so right now Nikita's in the lead, and Nikita would have the tiebreaker. But she only has 2 touchdowns despite winning her game this week. And unless the Ravens defense puts up 2 touchdowns, Nikita will win the final side bet of the year and at least pocket $5 dues going into the off season, which $5, yay, it ain't nothing. So that's the side bet. And yeah, so Josh, redraft playoffs, how are things looking? What do you see? And we've got an email from Brian if you want to read that as well.
I'll read the email. Sorry, I was trying to figure out what all these things had meant.
Well, again, if you would like take the time to like prepare.
No.
Oh God.
Playoffs. Hi guys. For your use, no credit needed. I know how much Josh likes to.
Go ahead, keep going.
Sorry, I have to read ahead silently so that I can read out loud. No credit needed. I know how much Josh likes to prepare, and I have nothing to do. So here's some thoughts. Who's hot? Last 3 weeks, average score. Bradley, 136 without CMC. Yikes. He didn't say that part. Derek, 130. Jeremy, 126. Josh, 123. Brian, 119. Hammer, 110. Gare Bear, 107. Bradley and Derek face off with the winner facing Josh, so one of the hots get knocked out. Hammer and Brian rematch of 3v6 from last year. Hammer won and went on to win it all. Garrett, as last one in, faces Jeremy. Injuries. All teams are healthy with the exception of CEH for Jeremy. Bradley might get CMC back. If so, he would replace backs averaging 8.5 points the last 3 games. Josh has Kittle stashed away, but after that loss last night, Niners may sit him the rest of the year. Predictions, Bradley, Brian, Jeremy, then Bradley and Brian, and Bradley wins it all. Spends money on Lowry's and Mountain Dew.
Brian taking the time to not only think him and his son are the most superior in this fantasy league, and then shitting all over his son in the same email. That's incredible. Do you think Brian has any sort of bias in this email, thinking that him and his son are going to be in the championship, and then he's ultimately going to lose to his son? You think that's irrational? Do you think that's unbiased?
I think there's bias, but I also think that Bradley has one of the better teams that's in the playoffs right now. I said it a couple weeks ago. He's the one that I didn't want to play with CMC coming back.
Yeah.
Maybe my only hope is I leave a pack of pepperoni and smokes outside his house on like Saturday, and he doesn't set his lineup on Sunday.
It's you know what that just might work. Yeah. So Brian had alluded to it. So it looks like the matchups are pretty clear. I don't think any of the wins losses will change, and if they do, they won't really impact much unless the Ravens defense puts Nikita over Garrett, in which case Nikita makes the playoffs and Garrett doesn't. But I don't think that'll happen. That's a lot of points for a defense. But going into week 14,
She only needs 12
no, that's not true. She needs 20. She's what do you see right there is her projected score.
or 18. Sorry.
No, it's 20. It's 20.45. Exactly. That's what she would need to win. So anyways, Josh is the number 1 seed. Jeremy's the number 2 seed. Brian's the number 3 seed. Bradley's the number 4 seed. Derek, number 5. Hammer, number 6. And then Gare Bear, number 7. Brian already laid out the matchups. Josh, is there, just kind of being familiar with those teams, is there anything else you want to add to those matchups? So again, it's a Derek versus Bradley. Anything you think about that? You think Bradley's walking away with this one? Derek was in last place at one point, but he's crawled his way back.
I don't know. Like I said, I would love for Brad to get knocked out, but Derek just kicked my ass this week, and then in both leagues, and so I'd rather not play him. But then again, Drew Brees might be coming back, and so his only other quarterback is Tom Brady. Yeah. So I don't know. We shall see. I think Brian's going to win it. My prediction: Brad, Brian, Garrett.
Interesting. Okay. So I kind of took my own notes here as well. Going back to the Derek versus Bradley matchup, I think Brad has a lot of tough matchups, but CMC could get him 50, so who knows? That's a big wild card there. Moving over to Derek. Derek has Mike Davis. So I think something happened to Mike Davis off the top of my head, but I don't remember what it was. But assuming Mike Davis is healthy and I'm crazy, this matchup could come down to who plays between CMC and Mike Davis. That could be the determining factor. But I think Derek has the higher floor, despite everyone kind of stroking Brad here. So using the law of averages, I actually think Derek's going to squeak out Brad on this one. Could be wrong. Who knows? Brad has been surprising people, but Brad has also been a lot luckier than good this year. Moving on to the We Dem Boys at Skybusters, the 6 seed versus the 3 seed. I think Brian has the lower floor, but I don't know everything. And ESPN is the lineups will change for sure, but ESPN is currently projecting Brian to win by double digits, so it could just be my own personal bias, and Brian did just kick my ass this week, but I think Brian has a lower floor personally. I think Hammer squad looks good, and he gets Lamar back. I know Lamar's been pretty shaky this year, but Lamar is one of those players who could put up a lot of points. So I'm going to take Hammer in this one. And then moving on to Garrett versus Jeremy. The notes I wrote were Jeremy should easily take this one. And then for Garrett, I just wrote, Jesus, dude, no shot. So I'm giving absolutely zero credit to Garrett's accomplishments making the playoffs. And I have zero faith in his ability to beat Jeremy, league rookie, could be taking this thing. I taunted him at the beginning of the year, said easy money, but Jeremy, number 2 seed, taking names and kicking ass. In the chat, Brian said, last year I did pick Hammer at this point, and you guys ripped me then too. So Brian's trying to use his oracleness to be like, yeah, I told you so last year. Maybe you should listen to me this year. So he says Brian's going to win, or he says Brad's going to win it all. Loser matchups, we don't care about those. But people in the consolation ladder, keep playing. You could win cash. You could win ping pong balls. And you could not win the dumpster fire medallion, which is the real goal of the whole constellation bracket. So keep setting your lineups. Keep playing. Pretty please. Josh, do you have any other thoughts on the redraft league?
Nope.
All right.
I got a lot more points than everybody. Suck it, nerds.
All right. Well, we did get a beautiful voicemail from Hammer. So, Brian, you're in the chat. It looks like you're listening. Here's what Hammer, or is it Brian at Hammer? Yeah? Did I get that right? Yeah, Brian at Hammer. This is what Hammer has to say, Brian. Hope you're paying attention.
According to projections, I'm taking on Brian, and we them boys are going to take him down. I mean, I got Lamar Jackson, who has really outperformed his projections this year. But yeah, I got Austin Eckler and Mostert, who have been beasts for me all season. Well, I definitely have Cooper Kupp, and after scoring a ton of TDs in 2019, he's really had so many TD catches this year. Oh, but I got Tyler Boyd. He's really built a repertoire with rookie sensation Joe Burrow. Oh, and lastly, I got Johnny Smith, who started out red hot and has followed that up with a really solid back half of the season. So, yeah.
It appears Hammer has zero faith in himself and then struggled with his phone for a good 8 seconds there, just trying to figure out how to stop recording. That was cute. But yeah, so Hammer definitely taking the more humble approach, saying he's going to lose. Hammer, I'll stick up for you as the guy who beat me in the championship last year, and people never forget, especially the losers. I got your back on this one, Hammer. All right, Josh, there's just one last thing to do here, and I really don't want to do it because I've been holding it back. I've been holding back my tears on this, and I just don't think it's right. But we're going to have to do it. We have to respect the integrity of the league.
Yeah, after disrespecting it for the last 2 weeks, what?
We have a lot of fallen heroes this week, Josh. First up, we've already killed off a few, so that's why I'm not going to list everybody. But first off, Eric Landvik is dead. Garlic Johnson, dead.
Has been dead.
Catalina Wine Mixon, Wilbert Schultz, dead. Nikita Bunker, basically dead. It hurts. It hurts to say it. It hurts to feel it. But I had a chip and I had a chair, Josh. It was theoretically possible if two of those teams had tied, I could have passed him if I would have won. So I wasn't mathematically eliminated. Thank you. Stop the vote, recount, whatever helps me win. That's what I wanted. Thank you. But yeah. All right. I think that's all the segments we had for the redraft zone. Yeah, keep playing, avoiding the league punishment, win money, and ping pong balls. Yeah. All right, Josh. It is time for the old Fave Five. What was the Fave Five this week, pal?
Sci-fi TV shows.
And wait, no, that's a lie, because we got a voicemail that I forgot earlier, and I almost forgot again. Ugh.
Didn't we say that if they submit it late that they can go F off?
No, we never said that. Here's the voicemail.
Yeah, hi, Travis Leahy here. Say, just giving you a call back from last week. I don't appreciate you calling me the wrong names, but just had a quick question. I don't know if you've seen, to my own sources, but rumor on the street is the Eagles are going to be benching that their Carson Wentz, and I'm just kind of wondering, what do you think happens with him going forward? Like, do you think he just sits on the bench all year? Do you think he gets another chance later in the season, clear his head a little bit? And then what are the Eagles going to do next year? I mean, I can't see him paying all that money, $15-20 million a year on that contract to, I don't know, have him sit on the bench and just hold the clipboard. But I don't know, could they trade him? I mean, I think he might be an okay fit on, like, the Colts or the Bears or, I don't know, the 49ers maybe. Let me know. Thanks.
So, Josh, what do you think? What does the future hold for Carson
Fave
Wentz?
Five.
Come on.
Sci-fi.
Come on, Josh.
All right. I guess they want to see what they have in Hurts. Like I said, he hasn't. I mean, he was 5 for 13 against the Packers. Granted, he did come in mid-game, but they said he had been practicing with the ones all week. Wentz just gets sacked a lot. I think Rodgers has been sacked like 12 times this year. Wentz hit 50 against the Packers. That's insane. So I feel like he would do better elsewhere, but at the same time, nobody's going to want to take that contract on. He's kind of in one of those situations where if they cut him, they're going to take a big hit, or they'll have to trade to somebody who needs a quarterback bad enough to take that contract on.
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously, it's so tough because when you make the change at this end, it is clearly a move that Doug Peterson and whoever else, Howie Roseman, I think, they're trying to save their job by putting Hurts in there, trying to show that they're trying to win games because the NFC East, depressingly, is still wide open. So, I mean, it definitely depends on, does the regime stay in place? The regime that drafted Wentz and brought him in and has had faith in him all this time, but then benched him, do they stay around? And as far as the contract goes, I don't know who has more leverage in this situation. Like, I don't know what what the dead cap situation would be like. Whether it gets cut or traded, it kind of depends on that. I know he's off his rookie deal by now. It's like Matt Ryan. If he were to get cut, for example, his dead cap hit would be like $100 million or some nonsense like that. So if it's a situation like that where the quarterback has all the leverage, then they probably hang on to him because they have to. Because I don't even know if you could trade it. There's obviously a restructure is possible and then a trade, but as far as my hunch, my gut, my truthiness tells me Carson Wentz will outlast Doug Peterson. I think this Jalen Hurts thing is a fad. That's just my thought, but he could get traded or get cut and then go on and be great somewhere else. Who knows? But my hunch is that Carson Wentz sticks around a while longer. No, Brian, shut the hell up. It's what the fans want, okay? He said in the chat, blah, 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 breaking down, backup Eagles, QB, Eon. That's Jesse's favorite quarterback, okay? And we got to produce content for Jesse sometimes, too. He's out there in his tractor right now, listening live, plugged into his old potato, okay?
I think you're too far away from your mic.
What do you mean? I'm right next to it.
Nah, it's better. The entire time you were talking about Wentz, it sounded like you were underwater.
Well, why don't you stop me and say something?
I thought it was funny.
Okay, well, all right. So, Fave Five, Josh, for realsies this time. What was the Fave Five this week?
Sci-fi TV shows.
Is there a certain show that inspired you to say it like that? Because that is a very interesting way of saying it.
No, not really. None of the shows on my list, at least.
All right. Well, Josh, we definitely got some voicemail submissions, so let's go ahead and see what the fans had to say. You gonna be okay there, pal?
I yawned.
Okay, well, we'll play Al first.
Sci-fi TV shows? Are you kidding me, boys? I'm gonna skip this one, but I'm gonna try to guess Garlic's Fave Five. So number 5, I'll go with Star Trek. Garlic might be too young for this, but he's got some big nerd energy, so I'm gonna say he's gonna go for the classic. Number 4, The Orville. I feel like he likes comedy, so we'll try to rip off Star Trek a little bit. Number 3 is a big maybe, but I'm going with it. Westworld. I feel like Garlic might be too much of a cheapskate for HBO, but you never know. Number 2, The Mandalorian. I feel like he's a big he could be a big Star Wars fan. And number 1, I feel like he's really hip and cool, so we're going with Stranger Things. Big Winona Ryder guy. Calling it right now. 5 for 5. Let's go.
A lot of interesting guesses out of Al there. I don't know if I appreciated him shooting on me like that up and down. I think that might have been a little uncalled for, Al. I don't know if I appreciate everything you just did. But some interesting guesses. Obviously not going to spoil the pod because my Fave 5 is coming up. But just easy with all the shots, pal. I see there's a tear in my eye, not from laughing, but from crying. And I don't know why you're so opposed to sci-fi TV shows. There's a lot of good ones. I'm going to list them off for people like you who were too good to leave their Fave 5 this week. So, meh. All right. Who do you want next, Josh? Do you want
Hammer?
You want Hammer next? Hammer it is. Or no, Hammer's not on there. He left the voicemail for Trash Talk instead. So next would be Brian. We'll go Brian.
Hey guys, this is Brian with my Fave 5 for the week. Number 5. Westworld. Really only seasons 1 and 2. 3 got kind of bad. Number 4, The $6 Million Man. Might be before you guys' time, but it was a really good show back in the 70s, and it made this sound every time he did something. Number 3, The X-Files. Number 2, The Twilight Zone. This should be on everybody's list, and it is probably the best science fiction show of all time. But my number 1 of all time is Emmanuel in Space. Look it up. It's a doozy. Bye.
My Emmanuel in Space. So he says that the Twilight Zone should be the top of everybody's list, but then it's not even on the top of his list. So a little bit of hypocritical there out of you there, Bry guy.
No, he said it should be on everyone's list because of its pioneering of
Excuse me.
sci-fi genre.
Excuse me. Brian, since you're in the chat, I'd be curious to hear. Ooh, Levi loves Brian's picks. The bromance between the Mexican hipster and the middle-aged white male continues. Brian, Levi loves your picks. I was curious, Brian, let us know in the chat if you have watched I'm pretty sure they rebooted The Twilight Zone. There was either The Twilight Zone or The X-Files. One of them they rebooted with Jordan Peele, so I'm curious to hear if you watched that and what your thoughts on the reboot were. But we will keep going, and then we'll get to Brian's reply later. Speaking of Ryan, though, let's hear Walter's Fave Five.
Hey, Gar. Hey, Josh. It's your boy Walters here. Fave 5 list, sci-fi TV shows. All right, number 5, we've got Maniac. It's a Netflix series with Emma Stone and Jonah Hill. Kind of trippy, futuristic, yet all of the technology in there seems to be from the 80s. Super weird, but I loved it. Number 4, Star Trek Next Generation. This was probably my first experience with sci-fi, and just it has opened up my eyes to what the possibility of what technology can be in the future. So I've always found that to be extremely interesting. Next one, we have Westworld. The future of AI and what AI can do is extremely scary to me, and this show wraps up why AI can be a very, very bad thing. All right, last 2, we have The 100. And then to wrap up, we have Stranger Things. I ran out of time. That sucks.
So Walters, I don't know if you know, but you can do multiple drafts. If you don't like it, you can re-record. And you could also left a second voicemail. I know people don't want to be like Jack, because Jack is a pioneer, and Jack kind of treads his own path. But you could have redone it. But we appreciate your list, Walters. At the top of Walter's list, Josh, was Stranger Things. I'm pretty sure you tune in a lot to the Stranger Things, but pretty sure your wife does too. How does Nikita feel about the Things?
She likes it.
That's it? She doesn't have any other things to say? This is good?
I don't speak for her. You can ask her yourself.
Well, I've tried to get her on the pod multiple times, and she's refused all these times. She's awake right now. Why don't you just go get her?
Nah. By the way, a little bit of a quick update. I had let curiosity get the best of me because I had a suspicion on what Brian's number 1 actually was, and it is indeed a softcore porn show.
Emmanuel in Space? That's a softcore porn show, huh? Is that real? Yep. I have no idea if that's true.
It is. There was one season, and just the name itself kind of sent off some red flags. So, Brian, I'm going to have to ask you to keep it clean. We are a family-friendly podcast. And yeah.
Okay, so Brian loves softcore porn. Brian also said in the chat, nope, he has not watched The Twilight Zone. But back to Walters, Star Trek The Next Generation. That's a standard of a show for anyone that's maybe just the Gen X, I guess I'll just say Gen X. Anyone who's Gen X and had TV probably loved the Star Trek The Next Generation. So, Walters, that is a pick that I'm interested to see that was on your list. But then again, you are like 90 years older than me, so maybe you were there when they were making it. Who knows? But not a bad list out of Walters. We will move on to Mr. Heck Vickers.
Hello again, Josh and Gar. Jack here, coming at you with another Fave 5, getting mine in fashionably early this time, a whole whopping 30 minutes before you record. So, kicking it off here with my Fave 5 sci-fi. I don't watch a ton of sci-fi, so I had to go back a little bit deep in the vault. But number 5 is The X-Files. Each episode's great on its own standalone episode, so you gotta love that. Number 4, The Mandalorian. It probably will end up being higher on my list, but it's only in its 2nd season right now. Still highly, highly recommend if you don't watch it. Number 3, growing up, this was one of my favorite shows, but The Twilight Zone. I loved each individual weird, unique. Some were kind of scary, some were just kind of different, but classic show, no doubt. Number 2, The Clone Wars. Even if you're not a big Star Wars fan, I highly recommend. It starts out a little slow in the first couple seasons, but it gets to be one of the top shows ever. And number 1, Black Mirror. This show is so unique and different to me. Each episode I feel like is like a movie length long and quality wise, and it's just so good. So one of my favorite shows of all time.
How do you feel about Jack's list there, Josh?
Good. He had a lot of popular options. Some overlap on mine.
Oh, some overlap. Okay, there's a little tease for you. Black Mirror, absolutely stellar show. I was surprised. I guess I shouldn't say surprised, but I was curious if anyone was going to put Clone Wars on there. I just can't talk tonight for some reason, because that's obviously a sci-fi show. Some people might call it a kid show. Some people might disqualify animated shows for some reason. But Clone Wars, I'm glad it made someone's list, because spoiler, it didn't make mine, and I'm assuming it didn't make Josh's. So I just want to shout out Jack for the respect he's putting on Clone Wars' name, and if someone else already said it before Jack and I've missed it, I apologize. But I like that list out of Jack there. It's interesting that he likes Black Mirror so much, but I assume that made Josh's list. It made my list for sure. So we'll keep her going. Carmel Bear, he's last. I'm letting him be last because he submitted last, and also he's the guy with the art degree, the TV and cinema critic. So let's see what this stooge has to say.
Hey, white bearded men. Carmel here with this Fave Five sci-fi shows. At number 5, we have Twilight Zone. Number 4, The X-Files. 3, Futurama. 2, Black Mirror. And 1 is Friends. Why is this on my list? Well, let me fucking tell you. How does Monica, a chef who makes 40 to 35 grand a year, afford a approximately 1,500 square feet apartment in New York? It doesn't make any sense. Let me fucking break it down for you. This is a 2-bedroom, giant kitchen, giant living room. She lives there by herself for most of the first season. It just doesn't make any sense. And they say it's $200 a month. How the fuck is that even possible? So here it is. She's part of the CIA's Project MK Ultra. She was a willful participant, got superpowers like 11 from Stranger Things, and now she mind controls her landlord. It's the only explanation.
So Carmel Bear rattled through his first 4 actual sci-fi TV shows, then goes on a long rant about Friends, which I greatly appreciate.
Hang on.
Yeah, go ahead.
I agree. Carmel Bear, you're onto something here.
Did Friends make the top of your list in the sci-fi TV shows, Josh?
It probably won't even make the top 5 of my regular shows, so no.
Oh, tough. But yeah, I mean, Carmel Bear's list can speak for itself. Everyone, I don't feel like we need to analyze or, give feedback on that one. Walter's getting to an interesting point here. He says, how the fuck did I miss Futurama? So that's all the voicemails we had. I'm pretty sure you can let me know in the chat if I missed yours, but I think I got them all. So I guess Audio Al's was the first one we got this week, and so I'm doing the blind reacts now, so I'm not going to listen to the whole voicemail pre-show, but I listened to just the first tidbit because these people still don't know how to mark their voicemails for us, though we appreciate you leaving them. So I'm not always sure if it's a Fave Five or something else, so I listen to the first couple seconds because they almost always say here with your Fave Five, or they do something else, so I know where to play the voicemail in the right segment of the show, because some other podcasts really seem to struggle with playing voicemails in the right segments. But for Audio Al over there on his high horse trying to belittle sci-fi TV shows, here's just a list of some wonderful, great sci-fi TV shows that didn't even make my list, but are great. Didn't even make my honorable mentions. Third Rock from the Sun, Alf, Star Trek, Battlestar Galactica, Knight Rider, Star Wars, Clone Wars, Mystery Science Theater, Twilight Zone, X-Files, $6 Million Man, Stargate, Rick and Morty, Futurama, The Expanse, Stranger Things, Lost, Doctor Who. A lot of critically acclaimed shows in there, all of them in the sci-fi genre, Al. Get off your high horse. There's a lot of good sci-fi shows out there, and none of those were even in my honorable mentions, let alone my list. So, meh. Josh, do you want the walk-off shot this week? Do you have any honorable mentions? How are you feeling about the sci-fi TV shows?
Well, I love that genre, so I'll take the walk-off. I feel like our number ones are going to be the same, though.
Oh, you think so? I would be very surprised if our number one is the same. I'll say that.
Probably not, but okay. I will take the walk-off. Do you have any honorable mentions?
Yeah, I just got 2. Mandalorian, I literally just started watching it a couple weeks ago, so I definitely couldn't rationally put it in the list with it being so recent for me personally. I know they're in season 2, but I just got on the bandwagon very recently. And then Falling Skies, a show I watched throughout every episode, every season. I think it was like back in high school, community college time, so it's been a while. It's an okay show. It was on AMC. Nothing special about it was going on the same time. Walking Dead was huge, so Falling Skies didn't get all the recognition maybe it deserved, but it's an okay show. An okay sci-fi TV show. You got any honorable mentions?
Yeah, Mandalorian is one of my honorable mentions, mostly because it's only 1.5 seasons in, 2 seasons in. I'm sure it'll jump up that list if they keep going with Jon Favreau and his kind of vision of things. Limitless, the TV show, only 1 season, but it was a good show. I enjoyed it. A lot of comedy, some action, that sort of thing. Supernatural. I think it's on its 400th season right now. They just won't end, which is why it didn't make my top 5. The first handful of seasons were really good, and then I just kind of fell off like around season 9 or 10 or whatever it was. And then Spider-Man, the 1994 animated series, enjoyed that one a lot. Had a recent rewatch of that myself actually, and then Futurama and all the classics like that.
All right. In the chat, Levi says, Star Wars is fantasy, and I'll kiss anyone who doesn't agree. A nice little COVID kiss for anyone that doesn't agree. But, Carmel, you can be the one who maybe is technically correct, but I definitely think Star Wars is sci-fi because, that's how science works. But fantasy is definitely a big part of it as well. So
it's fiction, and there's scientific things involved. Therefore, sci-fi.
Science. All right, Josh has got the walk-off shot, so that means I go first. And I technically cheated, kinda. A couple people have done this, so I'm not breaking precedent here, but technically I've got a Fave 6 this week. At number 5, I've got 2 shows tied because I didn't want to pick one over the other. 2 shows that just came out. We've got Space Force on Netflix and Avenue 5 on HBO. Both shows that, like I said, just started, just had their first seasons. They're both funny shows in their own way. They're a little different. They're chill shows that you're not gonna invest a lot into the shows, but they're nice to have on in the background, and you'll definitely get a chuckle or two. I'm really excited to see where these shows go. Avenue 5 is a little more of a kooky show. It's just goofier in general, and then Space Force is quote unquote more serious or more grounded. But both science fiction shows, both interesting, and I would recommend both Space Force and Avenue 5. And to Al's point about me not being too much of a cheapskate for HBO, that's true. I canceled my HBO a couple months ago, and then someone let me start using there, so I can still watch the shows on HBO, but I don't pay for it. Thank you very much to the person who provides it for me. Josh, you're number 5.
I have The 100. It's on Netflix. It's a CW show, I think. So, but I gave it a chance. It's about 100 youth criminals who get sent down to Earth after a nuclear warhead went off, and so hundreds of years after that, and they have to survive. I don't know if you've seen it. There's a lot of different things going on in it. It starts off as more of a survival against savages or other inhabitants of Earth. Then it turns into a artificial intelligence implant in the brain and a lot of different things like that. So it definitely kind of throws some curveballs at you, but I like it a lot. I'm watching it right now.
Nice. My number 4, and I haven't seen that show, I guess I should say. I've watched 1 versus 100, but that's a different show entirely. So definitely not even in the sci-fi genre. But sounds like a good show. My number 4 in the Fave 5. I'm disappointed to see this didn't make anyone else's list, especially because everyone else is our age and could have watched this show easily. I've got Disney's Phil of the Future. Great Disney show from my childhood. Just a goofy sitcom, oriented towards kids. Only lasted 2 seasons. There's 43 episodes, I think, and it can currently be streamed on Disney Plus. The show just hit me at a time in my life where I was really interested in technology, and time traveling was super interesting to me throughout. I think the show was either middle school or high school, I don't remember exactly, but also one of the few books I actually read throughout grade school was the Time Warp Trio. So time travel was just really a thing for me. So Phil of the Future, time travel, sci-fi TV show. It's great. I loved it. Josh, what's your number 5?
So this one might be controversial, and that's fine. But I kind of, when I was going through my list, I kind of clumped in sci-fi and fantasy. So I know that they are different genres, but to me, they have similar enough elements to where I can do that. So screw you, people who say otherwise. But number 4, I have Game of Thrones. More of a fantasy, I will say that. But for seasons 1 through 5, it makes my top 5. After that, probably wouldn't have done anything. If they kept the quality of 1 through 5 going, it would be my number 1, but they ruined it. So thanks.
Damn, let me just say unequivocally for everyone in the chat right now, because I feel confident everyone in the world would agree with what I'm about to say. Game of Thrones, definitely not a sci-fi show. So you can make your Fave 5 if you want, Josh. It's open to interpretation. It's your own list, but Game of Thrones definitely.
So then why you
got
to bash me?
Show.
I said I lumped in fantasy and sci-fi.
Because, Josh, the content is funnier for our fans if I, kind of dump on you every once in a while, kind of call you a stooge. And so Game of Thrones, definitely not a sci-fi TV show. Maybe respect the segment next time, Josh. My number 3, some people might be surprised to see this isn't higher on the list, but my number 3 Fave 5 sci-fi TV show is Westworld. So that's, I'm pretty sure the first one Al got right, because I don't think he said Space Force or Avenue 5. He definitely didn't say Phil the Future. So Al, you got your first point. Westworld, my number 3. The first season of the show will absolutely rock your socks off. One of the best seasons in television history, let alone just sci-fi. Stooges like Carmel and Josh fall off after that, but through season 3, I absolutely still love the show and plan to watch every episode as they release until the show ends. So if you want to say, oh, the show changed, oh, the show did this, the show did that, starting in season 2, we don't want you. Then don't watch the show. Go away, okay?
Well, you don't want that, because then there won't be many seasons.
Oh, there'll be plenty. HBO is fun in this thing. Deep. They want it to be the next Game of Thrones, though it never will be. So they're going to make a lot of episodes. But Westworld, my number 3 sci-fi TV show. Excellent show. If you never watch anything else, watch the first season, please. Josh, you're number 3.
Coming in at number 3 for me, I have Star Wars Clone Wars and Star Wars Rebels. So animated series. Love both of them. They just add more to the canon of Star Wars. And yeah, can't go wrong with them, as you mentioned. And Jack.
There you go. Clone Wars, number 3 for Josh. My number 2, absolutely wonderful sci-fi show. It's definitely not for everybody. I can get why some people might not like it. When I say that, I guess I think of Brian. I don't know if Brian would like this show, but Jack talked a lot about it. Black Mirror, my number 2 Fave 5 sci-fi TV show. Oh my word, this show is a wild ride. Through however many seasons, the show is mainly an anthology, just a collection of separate stories, that have different characters every time. So you don't really need to watch them in order. There's not really an overarching story. You just kind of pick and choose the episodes you want. But it's all some sort of technology drama, aka Black Mirror, which is what your phone is when it's the screen's not on. So when you look back at yourself, the Black Mirror, the screens, the technology, all that. But anyways, the first 2 seasons are done by like British TV, so the first 2 seasons are a little bit older, and then Netflix takes over in season 3. And the first episode of season 3, I could definitely see getting a lot of people hooked. So if you want to start watching the show, I would probably recommend starting with season 3, episode 1 of Black Mirror. It's a great show. It's more modern. Bryce Dallas Howard, who's a hottie for me. That redhead beauty, she's the star of season 3 episode 1 of Black Mirror. So great show. Because of all the stories can be so different, there are going to be some hit and misses based on your preferences, but such an interesting show, making you think about technology and the consequences of it as we evolve as a species. I would definitely recommend watching Black Mirror. Like I said, some episodes aren't going to be for you, but just watch it. It's a fun thrill ride. Josh, you're number 2.
Coming in at number 2, Stranger Things, on a lot of people's lists already, but so far through 3 seasons have been very, very well done. Can't wait for the next one since it did get announced. COVID slowing things down though, so yay, I guess. I don't know. Maybe they'll get this one right instead of Game of Thrones taking their time and ruining everything.
Is it the same people that made Game of Thrones?
No, it's not. Thankfully.
Okay, I didn't know if there was like a very strong opinion there. You're like, if this director fucks it up one more time. But okay, so Stranger Things, Josh is number 2. My number 1, the Fave 5 sci-fi TV shows. I've got Al headed on his list, The Orville. Absolute wonderful show. Unlike the anthology series of Black Mirror, this one's more episodic, so it's got the same characters. It's just like the old Star Trek shows. The same characters each time, but different stories. You don't really necessarily need to watch the shows in order. Sometimes they'll do like 2 or 3 episode dramas where you have to watch a couple in a row to get the full story. But normally you can just pick an episode and watch it without needing to see the other ones around it. So that makes it a nice show to kind of pick and choose how you're watching it without getting too invested in an overarching story. But for me, Orville has to be number 1 because of my internal Seth MacFarlane bias. I love Seth MacFarlane a lot, and I grew to love this TV show because everyone does this. When you discover a thing you really like, and then the critics out there in the world, which are useless pieces of trash anyways, critics are dumb, but the critics really dumped all over the show in the beginning when I loved it, and I was part of the community that was like, these critics don't know what they're talking about. So that kind of breathed the love a little bit more for the Orville for me. But it's just like Star Trek. For those of you that have seen Star Trek, I hear the Orville really respects the original Star Trek. So if you like Star Trek, you'll love the Orville. The show is funny. It has heart. It has some great episodes that make you think. It has aliens and robots and stuff. You should watch this show is all I can say. I can't give as much to it as I did Black Mirror, but this is more an X factor of truthiness. Watch the Orville, pretty please. Josh, the walk-off Fave Five.
I am shocked this one didn't make your list because it is technically classified as a sci-fi. But
here we go.
The Boys. Yes, it is. Gar,
it's not a sci-fi show.
How is it not?
It's a superhero fantasy show.
And sci-fi, science fiction, there's science involved. They generate their own superheroes with Compound V. That's
you can
pretty
call it
sci-fi if you ask me.
You can call it sci-fi if you want.
I mean,
Josh.
if you want to look it up, you can look it up online. I don't care. Do what you want. It is a sci-fi show, and it's my number one. Screw you. I'm going home.
Why is it your number one, though?
Well, no, I'm not going to share now if you don't want to hear it.
I mean, what if other people want to hear it?
It's got everything you need. It's got action. It's got some science fiction involved where they're generating their own formula to create superheroes and super terrorists. There's a lot of swearing. Sorry, Brian. Blood and guts, nudity, and yeah, overall, great show.
The Boys is a fantastic show. I would definitely recommend people watch The Boys, but it's more sci-fi than Game of Thrones, but that is not saying much. I would not call The Boys sci-fi. But Josh, thank you for your list. Thank you for the sci-fi TV shows. Obviously, not every week is going to be a great Fave Five. We have like a pool of 60 of these things, and so we just got to keep going. But this was one I was a little more passionate about, so the Fave Five went a little bit long because I kept talking a lot. But the Fave Five, and we appreciate everyone who contributed this week. Josh, the Fave Five for next week. This one's universal. There's going to be no people on their high horse like Al for this one because this is one we can all appreciate. And we will all have at least 5, probably 10 or 20. But the Fave 5 for next week is food aromas. I'm sure I'm going to be on everyone's list. I can just spoil it now. That steak on the grill. Oh. So yeah, Fave 5 next week is food aromas. And I'm very interested to see what you guys can put together for that and see how different people's tastes influence their favorite food smells. Don't forget about the raffle. Still got a chance to win $50, leaving us a voicemail every week. You saw Jack just left a station identification this week. Plenty of you still haven't done that, like Hammer. Get your station identification in, and you get another raffle entry because you've been hitting it pretty hard, Hammer. So might as well give yourself that extra shot. But don't forget to leave your voicemails for that shot. Josh, we're into the outro here. You got any final words for the folks?
Go Packers! I'm hungry.
What's for dinner tonight?
I don't know.
Ooh,
so it's a nice little surprise.
It's a nice little surprise that your wife's cooking up for you. Do you think she would ever try and poison you through your dinner?
Yeah, but I keep the poison on the top shelf, so
she'll never reach it. Got it.
Exactly.
One last time, I'd like to say thank you to. Still, I guess to this point, haven't figured out who sent me the 24 pack of 23 ounce. Arizona peach tea, but I do greatly appreciate it. That is very kind of you. So whoever it was, thank you very much. Whether you reveal yourself or not, I do appreciate it. Stay safe out there. COVID's still going on. HiddenOaksOverdose@gmail.com, Facebook.com/HoodPod. Don't forget to like and comment, and then Anchor.fm/HoodPod for your raffle entries and whatever else you got. We love it when you engage the show. It makes it better for all of us. Be a friend, tell a friend. Journey to 100 subs on YouTube. We'll get there eventually. Josh, might as well go to sleep, and we'll give the folks the fan art one more time. Thank you again, Senior.
I do have one more thing to add, just to see how far this person is willing to go with the Arizona iced tea. If you are currently listening right now, I would like for you to send a decapitated doll's head in a cooler filled with red Kool-Aid to Garlic's apartment.
Well, can we? I think it's your turn to receive a package. So if anyone wants to send that to someone, send that to the Mitchell household. And I've got that address for whoever needs it. I know what Josh's address is. So
no, I'm not asking. I didn't ask for handouts. I'm not asking. I want somebody to send you that gift of a decapitated doll's head in red Kool-Aid.
maybe me saying this will make it happen, but I feel very confident no one will go to that level of
Next
whatever,
week you'll have 3 of them.
Involvement, participate. You never know. Well, it seems like you guys are coordinating and conspiring against me, so I don't think I'd get 3 of them because that would indicate that you guys are unorganized. But whoever's out there scheming this together seems like it's a cohesive unit. So,
Unless you get 5 of them, 1 with an arm, 1 with the other arm, 1 with a leg.
please don't. I'll have nightmares, and I don't even dream very often. But if I get that in the mail, I'll have nightmares. Okay. Oh,
Rig it
God.
so when you open it, it pops up.
All right, we're out of here, folks. Engage the show. We love you. Thank you. Bye. Jesus, Josh, what are you doing?
I don't know. Spreading joy.
What are you gonna do? What if that shows up at my house? What am I supposed to do?
I don't know. Give it to your neighbor. Ask if they want Kool-Aid.
Oh my God, that would.
Esto no es Pat McAfee, pero está bien.
Oh fuck. Oh man, that peach tea is delicious, but I guarantee I'll have some into next fall because I don't drink these very often. So I'll probably have some for season 4 of the podcast, assuming we make that long. Love you, bye.